Okay, we are now on the record. This is State versus Brian Koberger, CR 29222805. Mr. Koberger is here in the courtroom with his attorney, Ms. Taylor. The state's represented by Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings, Latah County Prosecutor's Office. I believe Mr. Logston is remote, and so is Ms. Mathen, both representing Mr. Koberger. I think I've covered everybody. Ms. Evans is the court reporter. We're here for a motion and a potential witness, I believe, relating to motions to compel discovery, 4th and 5th. That's all I know. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Your Honor, the court is correct. We are here to begin the motions to compel. We have testimony today from Detective Mauy. As the court will recall, he's unavailable on the 30th and 31st, which are the days when we will have the full scope of our motions to compel. So it may feel a little choppy, but we would like to hear from Detective Mauy today and would call him when it's appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Anything preliminary, Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings?
Okay.
Okay, great. Detective Mauy, come on up. You face the clerk, raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you've given this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do. All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and have a seat there. Once you're seated, please state your name and spell your last.
My name is Lawrence Maury, Mowey. All
right, thank you, sir. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you. Will you tell us how you're employed?
I'm employed with the Moscow Police Department.
What is your role there?
I am a detective.
How long have you worked for Moscow Police Department?
I've worked for Moscow for over 5 years.
Have you been a detective that entire time?
I have.
And prior to that, did you have law enforcement experience?
I do.
How many years total?
We have on 14.
Detective Maury, did you take part in the investigation into the homicides on King Road?
Yes.
And what was your role?
A lot of different things. How to answer that?
Well, I can ask you about a couple of roles, maybe.
Sure.
Do you do any work with cell phones and cell towers?
I have taken training for cell phone analysis.
Was that one of the roles that you played in this investigation?
Yes.
All right. And the other area that I'd like to talk to you about is the collection of videotape evidence or surveillance evidence from around the community. What was your role in that?
So we gathered a lot of data, a lot of USBs, hard drives that came in. At one point, all of that was given to me so that I could copy it over to a server so that we have it as storage backup.
Did you inventory it at that time as you got it in, I guess?
No, I haven't seen inventory. I used the evidence technician to help me book them individually at the time. Right, so the USB had the name of it on it. I would label the folder, what it was, and that came from it.
Did you have any role in verifying the content of the surveillance?
No.
I'm going to have a few questions about that, but I want to talk a little bit more about your role with cell phones and cell towers. So let's start there, okay? What training do you have for that role?
So some time ago, I went through what they say PATC training, which is cellular analysis, and I've also taken classes for the CAST codes.
The cellular analysis, is that particular to the device itself, the cell phone device?
No.
That is particular to towers?
To the towers and the providers themselves.
When did you take that training?
Well, the CAST, I believe it was in 2019, and then I also did it again last year.
And the CAST that you took in 2019, that was the ENDICAC, is that right?
That was predominantly again, correct?
And the cast that you took last year was October of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was the actual cast training.
They were both done by actual cast members. I'm not sure if one was sponsored by the other, but they were both owned by FBI cast members.
And Your Honor, if I can approach.
Yes, thank you.
Detective Maury, I'm putting in front of you what's labeled as Defendant's Exhibit O, and those are 2 certificates for training. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. The one that's from 2019, what did that cover?
That covered the use of the Castbiz software.
And what did the one in 2023 cover?
The second.
Your Honor, I move for admission of Defendant's O.
The objection?
No objection.
Okay, those are exhibit, oh, no objection. Thank you.
Detective Maury, how many total hours do those certificates represent of cast training?
I apologize, I didn't look. It was a week long. It was actually a couple of days each time. 2 days apiece. If they need this, I think. So the 2019 shows 24 hours. 2023 says 16 hours.
Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Detective, you've written some reports in this case, is that correct?
Yes.
I want to talk about 2 particular reports right now. One is from May the 5th of 2023. Do you recall that report, or should I bring a copy of that to you?
If you will add it up.
I will definitely do that. You can show it to Ms. Jennings.
We have a jury next door,
Okay.
just so you know, that's all about it.
Detective Maury, does that appear to be your report from May 5th of 2023?
Yes.
And Your Honor would move for admission of Defendants P.
That's P,
P, like Paul?
all right? Any objection? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Exhibit P is admitted, no objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Maury, I do not have a police report for the other one that I want to talk about today. It's one that I received via email today that was written just within the last few days by you, probably. Do you know what report I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I want to understand is we're talking about documents or records or logs that can be created by a CastBiz program. The report that you wrote that I received today, when did you learn about those documents that exist according to that report?
The session logs that I found were from yesterday.
Why did you come to find them yesterday?
I was preparing for this hearing.
Okay. And those are things that existed for quite some time, is that correct?
They did.
And when you wrote about your work with CastBiz in May of 2023, did you document those items?
No.
Tell me what you found when you were preparing for the motion to compel today.
I found session logs that were sent to me from the FBI.
All right. And in those session logs, how many files were there?
I don't remember. I think there were 6 or 7 different items inside.
Did you look at the CastViz 48-hour file?
I don't remember if I did at the time of reception.
Did you look at it yesterday in preparation for this hearing?
I attempted to.
All right. And how about the CastViz full log?
I attempted to yesterday.
I noticed in your report that there were several items that you listed. Were those from these CastViz logs that you attempted to look at yesterday?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to, you need to speak up a little bit. The clerk is telling me to pick up a little bit.
There were some files that were in the session logs, there were other files that were not.
Well, let's start with the 48-hour. What was contained in there?
There was over 48 hours that was the AT&T records, the original records, and there's a 48-hour session log. I don't know which one you're having.
Let's go with the session log. What was in there?
Appeared to be the AT&T records that possibly were inputted, as well as some JSON files that were probably produced by CastViz.
JSON files were produced by CastViz. Is that right?
I would assume that. I didn't create those files.
What date were they created?
I believe one was in December, the other was in April.
December of what year?
22,
And April of what year?
23.
Could you tell who created those?
I could not.
How did you get those?
I was provided those via email.
By who?
Mid balance of the FBI.
What did you do with those?
Gave them as soon as I realized they were in my possession. I had contacted the prosecutor and gave them.
And that would be just yesterday, is that correct?
Yes.
What did you do with them prior to that time?
They were sent to me. I put them in a folder and I didn't do anything else with them. That's why I forgot them.
Okay. And that was the 48-hour file?
The 48-hour session log, yes.
How about the full file? What was contained in there?
Similar items to the 48.
What is the full file?
I believe that was the second AT&T return that we got via warrant. I wasn't able to open it to verify it.
That brings up a question for clarification. When you say second warrant return, are you talking about something that relates to Brian Koberger?
Yes, there was two warrants that were originally written. One that covered a 48-hour period for the cell phone number, and there was one that was later done for a longer period of time.
And those are what you're referring to as the warrants 1 and warrant 2?
Correct. One for 48 and one for the longer period.
In the report that I just received today, there was reference to a loped bar file. What's that?
It is a file that I received from Agent Balance.
When did you receive that?
I want to say the modification date or the email. I honestly don't remember. Unfortunately, it was yesterday and I didn't throw this stuff together. So,
Okay. So that was one that you just found yesterday?
yes,
Okay. Did you open that?
I don't recall opening it. If I did, I don't recall doing it.
How about the CDR.S.XLSX file? Was that, and CDR, what does that stand for?
All detail records.
Did you open that?
I don't remember if I did not.
Did you open it yesterday?
I don't remember. I was looking for it. Once I found them, I was trying to figure out how they came into my presence or in my possession. That's where I started to focus.
Okay. How about the export.kmz file? When did you find that file?
I had found that one yesterday.
Do you know when that came into your possession?
It was some time ago.
Did you open that?
I believe I did on my laptop.
What did that show you?
It showed me different locations and so forth on a map.
Those 3 files that we just talked about, along with the CastViz 48 and the CastViz full, are those copied so that I can have those now?
Yes.
And you referred to emails. How many emails did you find when you were preparing for this hearing?
There was 5?
Are those included for me to have now as well?
Yes.
Thank you. In the report that I received today, there was a reference to drawings.json file. What's that?
It was a JSON file that was inside the CastViz session notes.
What does that depict?
It's just data that CastViz would use, I'm guessing, to replot something on the map to actually show the locations or other things.
Did you do anything with that file when you found it yesterday?
I did open that file, yes.
Okay. What did that show you when you opened it?
There were references to 2 locations inside.
When you open it, does it just say here's 2 references, or what does it show you when you open it?
It's different code, but there is some plain language or plain English, plain text inside of that code that show 2 addresses.
Did you use that file? Well, let me ask this first. That file that contains code, do you use that with the CastViz program?
I attempted to load the session file in its entirety and received errors, so I was not able to. That's why I went into the JSON file to see if there was something I could see reference.
Is that file usable?
I'm sure it is somewhere.
What is the restriction for you?
I don't know what restriction it is. I don't know what to do with that file outside of, if I could possibly bring it into the CastViz. I tried to pull it in as a combined session log, which is what I was trained to do. So I didn't get that. I didn't pull that file.
Is that file available on a Discovery Drive for me?
Provided to the prosecutor today.
Thank you. In the report that I just got today, there's a reference to another CastViz session and some screenshots. What is that about?
I believe you're talking about just the regular 48 hours folder.
I don't know. I'm curious.
So that I provided 2 folders. One was CastViz and one was my last name of Mauy. That was to differentiate the files that I found that were provided to me and the folder of the files that I used to create this report.
Okay. CastViz is the files that you found while preparing,
Correct.
and the one that says Maury is what you used to create your May 3rd report of 2023.
Yes.
Okay. I think I understand that now. In that file, I think your report said you found screenshots dated April 19th of 2023.
Yes.
All right. Does that mean that's the day that you put things into your CastViz program?
That was the day that I made the screenshots themselves.
Okay. Where are those screenshots now? Are those also included on the drive?
Yes.
Okay. And then your report dated 5/3 says that you were asked to examine the record. So I'm a little confused if you had something that you took screenshots of on 4/19, but on 5/3 you were asked to examine the record. What were you doing on 4/19 or before to get those screenshots?
So I was tasked, the date was May 3rd for the report. It's not the date that I asked.
Okay. What day were you asked to do?
I cannot remember. I'm going to guess that it was somewhere around April 19th. Because that's when the screenshots were created.
Okay. Let's talk about that time frame then and what you did. Did you actually use a CastViz program at that time to create something?
Yes.
The CastViz program that you used at that time, and we're talking about springtime of 2023, we'll call it April for now, if that's fair. What training had you received by then to do this CastViz program?
The 2019 training.
Okay. with the CastViz program, what's the first thing that you did?
Once the program is open, you can drag and drop the CPR records into the program.
CDR means call detail records.
Right.
Did you do just 48-hour records or did you do full records in April of 2023?
I only did 48-hour records.
When you put the records in, those are the call detail records, and those relate to what?
To the phone that the records were coming back to.
The number you associated with Brian Koberger.
Correct.
Okay. After you put those call detail records in, do you have to do anything with cell towers?
With the AT&T, no, because the cell tower locations are in the AT&T CPR.
Okay. So you put that record in, the tower locations are already part of the call detail record that you put in?
Yes.
Is that something that you have electronic on your computer and then you open your CastViz program and just import it into the program?
Yes, AT&T provides both PDF and text documents of the file, and I use the text document to put into CastViz to have it adjusted.
And when you do that, what gets exported?
Nothing. At that point, nothing is exported or created that I know of.
Can you export the session that you're working on?
You can export a session log, yes.
Did you do that?
No.
How did you create screenshots?
By using the built-in Windows snip tool, and as well as the built-in Windows game console, or they call it the game bar, which is just accessed by hitting Windows G, that allows you to record your screen.
Are those the only two things you did, is screen clip and screen record?
Yes.
How many times did you use call detail records in the CastViz program?
Probably a dozen times. I'm not entirely sure.
That was a terrible question. How many times did you use the CastViz program in relation to Brian Koberger's call detail records?
I don't know. No.
More than once?
I recall doing it for the grand jury because I wasn't the main lead in the call detail records investigation.
I don't understand what that means.
I wasn't the main person looking at those call detail records.
You weren't the main person with the call detail records, but you put them in the CastViz program anyway?
For the grand jury, I was requested.
Okay. What did you rely on in producing those? Producing whatever you produced for the grand jury?
What did I produce? As far as the AT&T records?
I want to know what you relied on to do that, to produce something for the grand jury.
I don't understand the question.
Okay. You weren't the main guy with the call detail records or with the CastViz programming. Did I understand that much right?
There was another investigator that was doing that.
Okay. But you end up involved in it somehow in April of 2023, is that right?
That's when I was asked to examine the data to provide that for the grand jury.
Okay. Was that all of your instruction?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're asked by somebody else who's actually doing this part of the investigation in the case to produce something for the grand jury to use. And I'm curious about what you relied on, to get to that point. I want to know all the records you relied on, all of the emails, all of the conversations you relied on to produce this thing that you're not the expert for.
So I wrote the affidavit for the AT&T records, received the AT&T records. Those records were also given to another investigator who was the main investigator doing the CPR records. Prosecution then asked me to provide or create some kind of visualization of the call detail records and examine the call detail records for the 4 hours in question That,
Just to be really sure, when you talked about writing the 2 warrants for AT&T, we're talking about 2 warrants that relate to Brian Koberger. There were a lot of other warrants. Is that right?
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to be really clear on that. You've taken the CAST training. Is that right?
Yes.
And you know there's a way to save your session. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there's also a way just to hit reset and delete your session. Do you know that part too?
Mhm.
And back in April, when you were creating something for the grand jury, you hit reset. Is that right?
Or I just deleted the files out of it. I don't remember if I had reset or if you can delete them individually as well.
You don't remember which thing you did,
I do.
but you decided to delete what you'd created.
I don't know. I didn't delete anything. I didn't create the session log, so I don't know how I would delete it. You delete the reference of the file in the software, but the file itself is not deleted.
I want to make sure I understand. The record, the AT&T record still exists. You didn't delete that.
Correct.
But the session, when you put that in to the CAST Viz program, and it does its thing with the call detail records, which includes tower references, you either deleted that session or you chose to reset. Did I understand that right?
Didn't create a session log. I don't know how I would delete it. I just removed the reference to the file, the main file, from the software at some point. I don't know when I did that.
You don't know when you did that?
Okay, but you can close the software without hitting reset or delete.
And then it would just stay there.
I believe it does.
And you can also export your session if you get interrupted and you want to come back and work on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that? You left it up and running at some point and then did something that didn't save it. Is that right?
The session log was never created. Did not create a session log. The CDR records I was dealing with is relatively small. There's no need to do that because I can ingest the files right back into Cascades in a short amount of time.
Your Honor, just for clarity, may I approach? I have another exhibit to show him. I'll give it to you longer. Thank you. Are you familiar with the document that was handed to you that's marked Defendants W?
Yes,
And have you seen that before?
I have.
Is that something that you were taught from the CAST Users Guide?
I'm sure I was. It's also included in the software that can be readily accessed by the
Okay. And Your Honor, would you move for admission of Defendants W?
Thank you. No objection. Okay, that exhibit W is presented.
Thank you.
No objection.
In your training, were you also taught from the CAST Field Users Guide?
I believe so.
I'm about ready to switch gears on you and talk a little bit more about videos for a second, but if I can have just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure. Thank you.
Right. Okay. let's switch gears for just a minute. During the course of your work, did you make contact with the Idaho Department of Transportation to talk about some of the cameras that cover main roads coming into and out of Moscow?
Yes.
And did you attempt to make preservation of any items? What items did you want preserved?
I was trying to see if they had saved video or still images from those spots,
What did you learn?
that they do not retain those.
Did you, when you say they do not retain those, do you mean they don't retain videos or pictures or both?
Both.
Did you do a preservation for anything?
Not recall sending actually a preservation letter out.
Okay. Your Honor, if I can have another exhibit provided.
Yes, thank you.
What do you recognize that exhibit?
So these were emails that I was trying to find some kind of contact information for windy.com, a website that does weather-related information, as well as has some links to images from cameras that are covering the highway.
And did you learn that you could have some still shots preserved?
I did.
Did you have some still shots preserved?
I did not.
Okay. Your Honor would move for admission of defendants PP.
Thank you. That's what, I'm sorry, PP?
Double P, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay. Exhibit PP is exhibit or admitted, no objection.
When we started talking, we talked about you kind of being the guy that would book or take videos in from different agencies, even if you didn't verify what was on the device you received. Is that right?
Yes.
And I have a specific one a couple of them I want to ask you about. One is from Red Star Coffee Shop. Do you recall receiving that video?
I did not.
Okay. And are you aware that it was hooked in or brought in by Idaho State Police?
No.
How would I find out about those videos?
I don't know. You'd have to go through the USB drives to find out what was given. I was just given the mass USB drives. I was not given them by the people that were bringing them in for time. Given to them after it had been handed off to other investigators and other assistants that were helping bring copies.
Is there somebody else I should ask about specific ones to track where they went?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
Okay. All right, give me just a minute, Your Honor.
Sure.
Thank you, Detective Maury. I don't have any other questions for now, but hold on, the prosecutor might.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Jennings, Mr. Thompson.
Ms. Jeans. Sure.
Okay, Ms. Jennings.
Maury, I want to go back and talk a little bit about this CastBiz program. Can you explain to me generally what is CastBiz?
It's just a software that is useful in creating visualizations of the call detail records.
Okay. So how is it useful? What does it show?
It shows the location and the direction of the cell towers and their sector antennas.
Okay. Now, what version of CastBiz do you have?
Currently, I think I have 33 on my laptop. It's prompted me to update for 38. But at the time, I believe I had version 30 installed.
So walk me through. You start up the software program,
Yes,
and then what do you do?
drag the text file from the CDRs into the system. It ingests the files and then produces a display of that data.
Okay. And is that what you did on the 19th?
Yes,
And then what did you do with that visual that was displayed?
those visuals, I created screenshots, created the screen capture of the video. CastBiz also allows a timeline playing view that you can record separate from Windows Scope and some software. I can save those.
Other than uploading the CDRs, did you change any of the settings on CastBiz?
The only thing that I would have done was gone in and changed made sure that the time was correct because they were coming in at the TC. It was sub-coordinated time. I want to make sure that those were representative of the local time.
All right, so you just changed it to Pacific.
Correct.
Any other changes?
No.
Okay. So you were talking about how it does not automatically save.
It does not.
Okay. And you chose not to save.
No. And in the exhibit that was provided, the actual text says that if you need to save a session file.
Okay. And can you tell me why didn't you save these settings?
I was creating the visualization exhibits. That's what I was doing with that.
Any reason to save the settings?
No.
Could this be recreated or redone in the same fashion?
Yes, I can, again, open the software, drag the CDRs back in, and in a very short time it is generated.
And it would give you the same information?
Yes.
Is that why you didn't save it?
Yes.
I want to switch over to the other session files that you found. Were those session files created by you?
No.
Okay. And did you ever use those?
No.
And have you now turned those over, provided those?
Yes.
Now I want to switch gears over to what we were discussing as windy.com. What is that? What is Windy?
It's a website that is available for weather and such.
Okay. And why is that relevant in this case?
We were directed by, I think it was Captain Corporal Payne that told me that we should look into windy.com
And why is that?
just to see if they retained video from the cameras themselves.
Okay, so windy.com has cameras.
They have screenshots. They basically capture the ITD cameras and put them on their website. Those images are routinely purged from their site for the administration of that.
Okay. And can you explain to me, when are those, you talked about them being purged from their site? What's that schedule?
From going onto the website yesterday, it's a public website, so I was able to go back to it. I don't remember exactly. I believe that within 24 hours, it's hourly. Within a week, it's daily. Within 12 months, it's monthly. And then after that, I believe it's I was seeing probably like 3 months or so.
Can you explain why you didn't preserve those images from Wendy.com?
When it was discussed with other investigators, we would have only gotten, I believe it was one image per day. Time frame wasn't where we were interested in, so we didn't capture that one. So
there is no evidentiary value.
none that we did.
Okay. And have you since gone back and found some screenshots?
Yes.
It's what's available on the publicly available website.
Anyone can go to wendy.com and grab screenshots there.
And you've now done that?
I have.
Anything of evidentiary value?
No.
Have those been turned over anyway?
Yes.
I just have 1 second.
Sure.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Can you do that?
Yes, just a bit. You were just speaking with the prosecutor about the images from Wendy.com. And I thought you didn't preserve anything or go back and look at anything during your investigation. Did I misunderstand that?
So yesterday when I was directed by the prosecutor.
Okay, so yesterday the prosecutor said, go look for these things.
Yes.
But before that, you and other investigators decided not to. Did I get that right?
With the information that we were given, we were told that there would be a screenshot for the day. If I remember right, the parameters of we did not grab those because they were not in the, didn't see that they would be relevant.
Okay. But you didn't look back then. You waited until yesterday. Is that right?
No, we looked back then. I couldn't tell you what time. Most of the photos that were taken for the daily screenshot or the daily screenshots were daytime. They looked at days kind of thing. So we didn't grab those at the time.
Okay, but you did look at the time and made a decision at the time. Do I understand that now?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the cast viz for a couple of questions for you. When you were doing the work back in April of 2023, did you see maps on the screen with the work that you were doing?
Yes.
And you also made a video of that. I want to show you a map and see if it's what I think it is. You have defendants R in front of you. What is that?
Appears to be a screen capture of the cast is software.
Is that a screen capture from a map that you made?
Yes.
All right. Your would move for admission of defendants R.
Action.
No.
Exhibit R is submitted. No objection.
And are you aware that when you can see mapping on your screen on this program that there's a log created? Okay. You would agree that if I were to take the call detail records that have the tower report in them, I would have to have the same cast version you were using to recreate what you did. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd have to have if I took the regular cell call detail records and put them into a different version of cast, are you saying that it would become different?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Let me try to be more clear about the one I was asking, and then I like yours. We might talk about your question as well. My question is, the prosecutor suggested that your work be recreated, and so it didn't matter that you hadn't saved your session. What I want to know is, if I have the 48-hour call detail records that contain the tower list like you have, do I have to have the Cast Viz program that you used so I can see what you did?
I don't know, because I don't know what the back end of the Castis software does. I'm just an user, so I don't know.
And you were in this CastViz program, at least for a while, creating exhibits that would be relied on. Is that right?
Yes.
On more than one occasion. Is that right?
Yes.
But you didn't save your work.
You did not create a session log. That's even need.
Would you agree I can't see what you did without your session log? Can't examine what you did without your session log?
It's there to create the visualizations for the exhibits. That's what I use Castis.
But I can't see what you did. Is that right? Is that right?
No.
No, it's not right, or no, I can't see what you did.
You cannot, but I could take those cell data or call data records, put them into Castis again. Results would be what they are because we're still using the same records from AT&T to create
Have you done that?
these records.
Yes.
No.
Thanks, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything on that, Ms. Jennings?
Right. Can we go, why did you pull the CDRs into Castis?
Why did I do that in April? Because I was asked by you to do it for the tender.
Okay, is that the only reason you did it?
Yes.
Is that the only time you did it?
Yes.
Okay.
That I remember. I mean,
Yeah, follow up on that question?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, great. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, please.
Any objection? Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Yes, Matt. All right, you are excused, but you can say if you like. Okay, next witness.
Your Honor, the rest of the witnesses will be present and ready to go on the 30th, to the very best of my knowledge. This was the only witness we needed to accommodate with today's hearing. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. So we're done for today?
We're done for today, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Jennings, agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Yes, what are you, hold on. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Beth. So I have a whole bunch of documents that is not clear whether I should sign the sealing or not, because there's no stipulation and there's no hearing, but we're all here together. So can we just go through this and clear it up? Yes? Sure. Sure? Okay, so the first one I have is motion to temporarily seal supplemental response to defendant's fourth and response to fifth motions to compel and motion to limit scope of testimony. And I have not signed that because there was no stipulation or agreed.
Your Honor, I apologize. I thought we had agreed those have the detailed exhibits attached to them, and I thought we'd stipulated that those detailed exhibits could be sealed.
Okay, well, the addition on that was limited scope of testimony, so I wasn't sure if that was included in our earlier agreement.
Your Honor, that's the state's motion. I know we responded to that, and we did not seal our response to that.
Okay, state is asking for sealing on that. Are we on the same page? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Just want to know if I should sign this or not.
Well, I'm just not sure. Is there an objection? It's the state's motion to seal. Is there an
Right.
objection from defense to seal?
No, if they want their documents sealed, that's fine. We have responded publicly, and so I wondered if that changed.
Okay, so I'll sign this. That's one. Just don't want to get in trouble with your arguments about sealing and not sealing. Okay, I just want to be very clear on the record.
Thank you for that.
Plus is piling up with the clerk. Okay, next one is also the state's, well, this is the one that's sealed. Got that taken care of. Got another one from the state, a motion to temporarily seal exhibit one of state's second supplemental response, etc. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. These titles are getting long, I have to say. Fine. Clear. I think that is one. Okay. This is the same. I think that's it. Anything else we need to talk about before we're done?
Nothing.
Nothing from us.
Okay. Thank you all. We're adjourned. Appreciate it.